What I learned 10 years ago was that in order for me to create the success, the money I wanted, I first and foremost needed to heal my relationship with money. I needed to upgrade all of my fucking wealth files. I need to upgrade all of my success files and change the way I think, feel, and behave with money.
Welcome to the She Who Dares podcast. I'm your host, Krystal Wilson, the founder of She Who Dares. I'm a specialized breakthrough and mindset coach, business mentor, online course creator, and your number one no BS hype woman. I'm here to remind you who the fuck you are and reignite your personal power through powerful and expanding conversations on all things business, mindset, and energetics, to help you break through to your next level of success in all areas of your life, business, and bank account. Each episode is designed to expand your mind, shift your identity, raise your frequency, as well as give you success strategies to help you step into your highest, most powerful, abundant, successful, and magnetic you. So, I dare you to join me each episode, and I double dare you to implement what you learn and go all in on you. All in on your life, your business, your success. Because if you do, like so many of my She Who Dares clients and students, you will become everything that you know deep down you can be. Ready? Let's friggin' do this.
Welcome back to the She Who Dares podcast. I am going to share a powerful story with you guys today. A story about a book that I read 10 years ago that I recently reread. About 10 years ago, I was actually at one of my very first personal development events, and the speaker recommended to everyone who was at that event that we read a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Now, at the time, I was the most eager as fuck version of myself who wanted so badly to transform my life and really become all that I could be. So I did exactly what the speaker told me to do. And a side note, when I think about this behavior, this type of behavior has served me really well in my growth, business, and success journey because I've always been really coachable. And I believe that one of the secrets to success, definitely my success, has been that when someone who has achieved what I want to achieve tells me to jump, I ask how high, and I follow their instructions and guidance. So when I left that event, the first thing I did was download the audiobook and begin to listen to my very first money mindset book. Now, since that first time reading Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, it's been 10 years and I have read many, many, many books on money mindset, but this book was the book that started it all. And to be honest with you, at this point, so 10 years ago, as I'm sitting in this personal development event and I've downloaded this book and I'm about to start reading, listening my very first money mindset book, up until this point in my life, money mindset was a completely new concept to me. I had really no idea what it was, or even that it was something that I should be working on, could be working on, and should be really developing within myself. I didn't grow up in a world or an environment where money mindset was something that was even spoken about. And it definitely was not spoken about in the way that I was now being taught at this personal development event, but also reading this book. I lived in a world where life was happening to me. That's the world I lived in at this point 10 years ago. Life was happening to me. Money was just something that some people had and some people didn't have. And unfortunately, I was part of the group of people who didn't have money. I didn't even really at that time identify as somebody who could be somebody who had money. Honestly, I just felt like I had been dealt the shitty money card in life. And all my behaviors reflected the negative and limiting beliefs I held around money. I just thought money wasn't for me, that money was hard to come by, and that I would always be somebody who struggled with money because that was the life that I'd been born into, and they were the cards that I had been dealt. I felt like money was something that was out of my control, and there was really nothing that I could do about it. I believed that in order to have money, I had to work really, really, really hard. The legal age in Australia was 14 years and 9 months. That was the legal age that you could start work. But I really had to start work earlier if I wanted to do the things I wanted to do as a 14-year-old, because we didn't have a lot of money. There wasn't a lot of surplus. My parents always did their absolute best and gave me what they could. But if I wanted anything outside of that, I had to work. So my mum wrote a letter for me before I was 14 and 9 months, and I got my first job. And so I was before the legal age that I could even work, that I was working. So I was working in year 8. I was like year 8 or year 9, I got my first job. And then didn't stop there. I got my second job, and then I got my third job, and I quickly assumed the identity of somebody who worked really, really hard. And I prided myself on my very hardworking and strong work ethic. I would say that I wore that identity as a badge of honor, a hard and strong worker with a strong work ethic. And the reason that I wore that as a badge of honor, looking back now in hindsight, is because working hard and having a strong work ethic made me feel successful and made me feel worthy. Honestly, I felt like I was nothing at this time in my life. Without a strong work ethic, I was just a dumb, poor girl who had nothing really going for her, who had no real direction in her life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I just knew that I didn't want to be seen as the dumb, poor girl. So I got a job before it was legal for me to get a job. And, in that first year of working, I had 3 jobs, and that continued for most of my life. I worked really, really hard, and I learned that behavior from my blue collar, hardworking parents who both dropped out of school before they finished high school. So if I worked multiple jobs, then that meant that I was doing something that gave me a sense of self. And so my worth was also very much tied up in my hard work ethic. And it gave me something to do. It gave me a direction, and it allowed me to feel and kind of like be an imposter person of somebody who appeared to have money, because I worked so hard in so many jobs so that I could just have enough money. And that gave me a sense of worth. That made me feel like I was good enough, which is all a big fucking band-aid. A whole other podcast episode is like when I had to rip that band-aid off and heal and dismantle my success and worthiness that had been so entangled. But that's a whole other podcast episode. So as you can imagine, when I'm at this event and this speaker recommends to me to read this book after all the stuff that I'd been through with money, and he explained the importance of developing one's money mindset, I was all in. Nothing could stop me. I intuitively knew at 30 years old, sitting in that personal development event, having had the most toxic and rebellious and, oh my God, the most negative relationship with money, I intuitively knew that if I wanted success, which I did, if I wanted to fulfill all of my dreams and goals, I knew I needed to heal my relationship with money. And I needed to heal it like yesterday, because me and money were not in a good place. As I sat at that event at 30 years old, I'd been working half of my life over 15 years, right? Multiple jobs. I barely finished college. I didn't go to uni. And after college, I went straight into working full time and multiple jobs. Full time, Monday through Friday, and then I would work weekends, then I would work nights. Okay, which isn't surprising where no one in my family also didn't go to uni. My parents both barely finished high school and did exactly what I did. I literally modeled their behavior. I barely finished college and then I went straight into work and I assumed the identity of a hard working person with a strong work ethic because in my mind and what had been modeled to me, that was the only option if I did not have an education. And I didn't know how to get an education because nobody before me had gotten an education. It's easy to see the generational wounds and the patterns that run deep in our lineage and how we model what we see and experience, and how breaking free from what everyone else has done in our lineage is no easy mission, but one that's truly remarkable if you decide you want to heal your relationship with money, if you decide that you want to go against the grain and do something that no one's done in your family. So not only did I work full time, I also worked nights and then I got a third job on the weekend. And I did this for the better half of 15 years. And guess what? Guess what I had to show for it as I sat in that event at 30 years old? Absolutely fucking nothing, except for my really, really, really hardworking work ethic, which I can assure you doesn't work well with a really negative relationship with money or a negative money mindset. I worked really, really hard to earn money, multiple jobs all the time, to work really, really hard unconsciously to get rid of every cent that I earned. I did not know how to save. I worked all the time, multiple jobs, had so much debt, it was ridiculous. So when he said at this event, you need to work on your money mindset, you need to read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, sign me the fuck up, let's go. And on top of this is just like the cherry on the cake, right? And I'm just giving you this so that I can give you some context about how bad my relationship with money was, okay? So 3.5 years earlier to sitting in that event at 26 years of age, I received an insurance payout for a car accident that I was in because I injured my neck really badly. It was a big fuck off check. More money than I had ever seen in my life. Only 3.5, 4 years. By the time I'm sitting in this personal development event at 30 years of age, I had blown through every single dollar of that big fuck off check. The kind of money that could have set me up, the kind of money that could have changed the trajectory of my life. I had blown through it all. In Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, he talks about lottery winners as a prime example of why a person's money blueprint is crucial to their financial success. He explains that most people who win the lottery actually end up broke. There is a statistic on this, but most people who win the lottery end up broke within a few years because their internal money thermostat or like financial set point is not actually set to wealth. He states that without the mindset, habits, and financial identity of a wealthy person, sudden windfalls, like coming into a big fuck off check of money, doesn't actually create lasting wealth. Coming into money, meaning someone like me who had a poor person identity, coming into a big amount of money didn't automatically turn me into a wealthy person, because wealth is first built in the mind and second in the bank account. Okay. Instead, people unconsciously, this is exactly what I did, unconsciously return to their financial comfort zone, whether that's struggling with money, getting by, or financial insecurity. So he compares it to a thermostat in the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. So if your internal set point is $50,000 a year and you suddenly get a big fuck off check like I did, you'll find a way to lose, spend, or mismanage the money until you're back at your original financial set point that you unconsciously feel worthy of, feel comfortable at. It's so fascinating to me. It's why I now teach money mindset, because of like the deep fucking work I've had to do to actually heal my relationship with money. And I put this all into a course called Heal Your Money. And the link for that is in the show notes. And you can have a look at that. And I highly recommend it, because everything that I had done to go from the version of me that I'm sharing with you now to the version of me that most of you know now on social media is everything that's in Heal Your Money. So if you are somebody who's like, fuck, I need to heal my relationship with money. Like if you're listening to this and you're like, holy shit, this is like me, red flags, alarm bells, then all you need to do is get the fuck out of your own way, invest the money into Heal Your Money, take yourself through that course, and allow yourself to integrate a whole new identity around money. So in the book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker, his core message is, if you want to be rich and you want to stay rich, you must upgrade your financial mindset first. Not just constantly be chasing external money. And that's the old version of me. As you can tell, I was in multiple jobs chasing money, thinking that that was going to be the thing that allowed me to have a little piece of the wealth pie. And what I learned very quickly was that, because all of my fucking programming was a poor person's programming because of my childhood and what I saw, what I experienced, that even when the universe gave me a big fuck off check, I mismanaged that money. I overspent that money until I was back at my comfort zone, my financial set point, which was no fucking money. Back in debt, back in struggle, back in no money. So wealth isn't about luck, because like getting that check, some might say that was lucky. It's about your internal programming, because I got the lucky check and I mismanaged that money until every penny was gone and I was back in struggle town acting like a broke ass bitch. So as you can imagine, up until this point of my life, my financial blueprint, my relationship with money, and my deeply ingrained money story and beliefs were ones of shame, disappointment, struggle, loss, and debt. I had so much shame around money. I had shame around being the girl who was getting her winter coats from the Smith family. I had so much shame around being the girl who lived in government housing. I had so much shame that sometimes we had money and sometimes we didn't have money, and I didn't understand it. I had so much shame that the number one reason that there was so much anger and eruption and chaos in my house was money. So before I even earned my own cent in my own job, my money blueprint was already incredibly negative and toxic. So it was clear as day to me when I sat in that event 10 years ago, before I read this book, that I needed to transform my relationship with money. I mean, the universe could not have given me any more evidence than what I'd already created for myself to let me know that my relationship with money was absolutely fucked up. I'd watched my parents work so hard my whole life. They were true blue collar family, working to make ends meet, working to survive. Growing up, money was something we sometimes had, but more often than not, we didn't have. And it was confusing. I didn't understand. And some of you will relate to this if you've grown up in a similar experience. It's like money becomes the enemy. It's like us against money in that environment. There was such extreme polarity when it came to money in my childhood. And then when I began to earn money myself at the age of 15, I modeled the exact same behaviors that had been shown to me. Even though my parents, God bless them, honestly, like number one thing that I thought about with my parents from the age of 14, the minute I started earning my own money, was how I managed my money. They tried so hard to scream and yell and shake into me a different way of being with money. And it was that in itself is such a valuable lesson to me when I have my own children, because you cannot teach somebody to do something that you are not embodying yourself. So my parents were trying to teach from don't do as we do as we say. But the problem is that children, or me in particular, and I think children learn from what we are seeing, what we are experiencing. My mum did, she tried, she screamed at me every day about saving my money and being better with my money, but they were not doing that. So it was really already ingrained in me to be this way. And it's not even their fault. It's just how it is. They did their absolute best. I wish you could see, honestly, one of my biggest traumas once I started earning money was I watched my parents fight my whole life about money. And then at 14 years of age, when I started earning money, guess what they both fucking did? They fought with me every day and wanted to know how much I was earning, what I was doing with my money, where was all my money going? It was just like money has always been like the enemy. Do you know what I mean? The source of the most amount of anger and frustration, the thing that has always let me down, has caused me to have fights with people. It's just, yeah. So it's so easy to see that by the time I was 14, I just modeled all the behaviors that were shown to me. As soon as I got a taste for earning my own money, it was all I wanted to do. Nothing else mattered, which is so interesting. It just shows the complexities of my relationship with money, because money was the enemy and yet it was all I wanted to do. I sacrificed everything to work as much as I could, to earn as much money as I could, so that I could just feel like I wasn't emulating the things that my parents had done and the money relationship that I'd grown up around. So as I mentioned, I worked 2 to 3 jobs from the age of 14 up until about 26 when I moved to Queensland, which ended up completely changing the trajectory of my life. Because before moving to Queensland, I was paid an annual salary, which means I was paid for my time. 40 hours a week, yearly salary, 4 weeks paid holiday leave, 2 weeks sick leave a year. This is the money system that most people operate within. So growing up, I was told that this was the dream, that this was the goal, this is the safety, this was security, this was a privilege. And maybe your parents told you the same thing. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job, get a steady paycheck, and live happily ever after. What a fucking nightmare. The biggest fucking nightmare we were sold as a dream. And if I'm being honest with you, something within me always felt like that's not for me. That's not fucking for me. And maybe that's because I already had worked a full lifetime by the time I was like 26 years of age. I felt like I was ready to retire when somebody showed me a business opportunity. So that always felt like a trap to me. It always made me feel like a caged bird. It always felt like something my inner rebel wanted to say, fuck you and fuck off to. There was always something within me that knew there had to be more to life. Like I remember sitting in my cubicle on my like $41,000 a year APS-1 public service entry-level position, in that cubicle thinking there fucking has to be more to my life than this. Like I'm not literally going to be doing this till I'm fucking 70, am I? Is that honestly what my life is going to be? Sitting in that cubicle in the public service, being told what to do, being told when to do it, being told how to do it, earning minimum wage, having to have my holiday leave either approved or declined by some douchebag on a power trip who I always seemed to rub the wrong way by just being me. So definitely there was something about that whole system that intuitively I knew was not for me, was not my path. So when I landed on the Gold Coast in 2010 and I landed my first job, and that job was a straight commission sales role, this was the first big step that I took that created a huge energetic shift for me around money, because I went from being trapped in a system that was paying me for my time to being set free in a system that allowed me to have uncapped earning potential, aka being paid for my results. Now, in the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, he teaches his 17 wealth files, which are 17 ways in which wealthy people think and behave differently compared to poor and middle class people. His language, not mine, so don't come for me. I probably wouldn't use that language. And I think every time I say poor person in this episode thus far, I feel a little bit triggered because that's who I used to be. That's who I used to identify with, but I'm just copying his language. So don't come for me if you're triggered too. So wealth file number 11 states, rich people choose to get paid on results and poor people choose to get paid on time. And when I think about that wealth file and that moment that I moved like from Canberra to Queensland and I got offered that job, this opportunity to work on straight commission and get paid for my results, it's one of those little moments in my life that I can now see in hindsight where I was absolutely being guided and led by the universe. It's just such affirmation to me of how guided, protected, and how the universe has always had my back, because I wouldn't be here right now having broken through all that I have, being able to teach what I teach and do what I do for work, if this particular sequence of events did not line up and happen in the way that they did. So I went from getting that steady paycheck, the one that we're taught is the fucking dream, and now I couldn't think of anything worse, getting a steady paycheck to being paid on straight commission based on my results. Now, initially, this was scary as fuck. I did not have the wealth programming to see the opportunity that was being presented to me. It was scary as fuck. It felt like I was losing security and safety. Like I was earning about, I don't know, between 40 and 60K before I got this job. And that's like, I knew how to manage that money. I knew how to like make that money work for me. I knew how to survive on that. I knew how to pay all of my debts. So it felt like all of a sudden, this was a huge energetic up level of like, oh, damn, I'm going to have to like really fucking back myself here. Like this is me going all in on my capability. And that is such a gift that I am so grateful for. What I didn't know at the time was that I was breaking myself free from a financial system that was set up for me to fail. I barely finished college. I didn't go to uni. I did do tertiary, like further education afterwards. But at this time, I barely finished college. I didn't have a uni degree. So the best I was going to get was a minimum wage job, which is a financial system that is set up for me to fail. This is not a system where I'm going to create the life I want. I'm going to create the wealth I want. Absolutely not. So in my first 3 days of my new career path and this new financial structure, I earned more in 3 days than my entire fortnightly pay working in the public service. And with that, my entrepreneurial journey was ignited. I was on a new path. Nothing could stop me. I realized I was never, ever, ever going back to anyone telling me that I was going to earn this amount of money for the year. The minute I got the taste of being paid for my results, it felt like, oh my God, I'm in control of this. This is uncapped. I can earn as much as I want to earn. And that excited the fuck out of me and just opened up the entire world. But just like getting a big fuck off check didn't change my financial blueprint, getting a straight commission job with uncapped earning potential and earning a shit ton of money also didn't change my relationship with money. In fact, what it did do was show me just how fucked up my relationship with money was and just how much work I needed to do on my relationship with money. In the book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker teaches, metaphorically, your mind is nothing more than like a big filing cabinet. All the information that comes in is labeled and filed into folders so that it's easy for us to retrieve that information when we need it to survive. Key emphasis on the word survive, and he did not use the word thrive. Now, every situation we face with money, you unconsciously go to your file in your mind, your little money file, and based on the information that's in that file is how you will respond in your life. Say, for example, like me, you receive a large sum of money or you change jobs and you go from earning a minimum wage to an uncapped income. Or maybe you're considering investing in personal development. Maybe you want to invest in my course, Heal Your Money. or maybe you want to invest in financial growth opportunities, you will automatically go to your little file in your mind labeled money. And from there, and the information that's already pre-programmed in that file, there you will decide what to do with the information in that file. So this is where it could be a problem for people, right? And why it's so important to heal your relationship with money so that you can actually transform your money mindset. If all your money files, like mine were, are based in fear, scarcity, and poor people thinking, then when you are faced with more money or opportunities that will actually break you free from your current money and success problems, your money file won't support you in taking the right types of action. In fact, it will guide you to take the action that is going to keep you right where you are, stuck in whatever financial mess you're dealing with, earning the amount of money that your financial set point is set to. Get it? The right choice for you based on your current money and success file may not be the successful choice that's going to actually support you in you reaching your goals. The key is to heal your relationship with money, to upgrade your money files so that you can think and behave like rich people do. Because as stated in the book, rich people think very differently to poor people. They think very differently about money, about wealth, about investing, about themselves, about others, and pretty much every facet of your life. And when you read this book, you're going to learn that. Secret of the Millionaire Mind comes down to your subconscious financial blueprint and whether it's set for success or failure. In order for you to master the game of money and success, you must master the inner game of money first, because of wealth. Hear me when I say this. I've done a few posts about this. Wealth. This is from my own experiences in life. Hear me when I say this. Wealth is built first in the mind, second in the bank account. What I learned 10 years ago was that in order for me to create the success, the money I wanted, I first and foremost needed to heal my relationship with money. I needed to upgrade all of my fucking wealth files. I need to upgrade all of my success files and change the way I think, feel, and behave with money. I needed to shed my poor person identity and step into the identity of a wealthy fucking woman. In her mind first, second in her bank account. This journey for me has not been linear. I have had ups and downs, wins and losses, amazing breakthroughs and awareness and insights. And I've also been blindsided by blind spots that I should have fucking seen coming, that have been crushing in the moment, but have been some of my greatest, most powerful money lessons. Rewiring your financial blueprint is not something that just happens overnight. It takes time. It takes self-love, compassion, forgiveness. And I think the scariest step that scares most people is taking radical responsibility for your relationship with money, for all your money fuck-ups, for it all. As I mentioned in the book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, there are 17 wealth files that T. Harv Eker teaches. And when I look over my life and my journey with money and healing my relationship with money, upgrading my financial blueprint, there is one wealth file that really sticks out to me as having had the biggest impact on my journey with success, my relationship with myself, my relationship with money, my wealth identity, all of it. And that wealth file is wealth file number 1. Rich people believe I create life. Poor people believe life happens to me. This wealth file is the foundation of everything in my life shifting and going from fucking bad to amazing. in essence, it speaks about like victimhood. And I know for me, and if you've been following me for a while, I often like talk about my journey with victimhood and how I was like the Oscar award winning victim. I was the Meryl Streep of fucking victimhood. I played that card within an inch of my life. Honestly, I was completely unaware I was even being a victim when I was in the depth of my victimhood. My victimhood was so deeply ingrained in me. It was all I knew. It was all I could see. It was all I heard, right? I had no conscious awareness that I was even a victim. But once I started my inner work journey, it all became so clear. And I could see that I was the common denominating factor, that in order for my life to radically change, I needed to take radical responsibility. Honestly, when we talk about victimhood, I could do a whole podcast episode on just victimhood, and I probably will. So circle back. If you're like, oh, that might be me too, circle back and keep an eye out for that episode. I stopped being somebody who believed her life was happening to her. If you believe your life is happening to you, it's a red fucking flag that you're in victimhood. Okay. I stopped believing I was a victim to all the fucking shitty things that happened to me. And at the time, I had a long laundry list of all the shitty things that had happened to me that I loved to remind myself as evidence to stay in my victimhood. And instead, I took radical fucking responsibility for my life and my results. I switched from a poor person thinking, a poor person identity, to a wealthy person thinking, where I create my life, I create my results, and I'm responsible for it all. Everything incredible that happened in my life only happened after I fully embodied wealth file number one from Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I decided to stop being a victim to my fucking circumstances, my childhood, my relationships, and all the shitty cards I had told myself that I'd been dealt. I decided to take radical responsibility for my money habits instead of blaming myself and other people. I decided to take radical responsibility for the role that I played in my toxic and abusive relationship instead of constantly being the victim in that story. I could keep going, but you get the idea. There were so many events and situations and relationships and fuck ups in my life, and I took radical responsibility for it all. And you know what happened when I took radical responsibility for all the shitty things? And I realized, oh, I'm not a victim to all of this. I've co-created this. I've played a fucking role in this. It set me free. So many women, like I've had the honor of speaking to hundreds of women. I've worked with hundreds of women. And the number one thing that women say they want from me is they want to feel content. They want to feel peace. And it's like, there is a path to that, but the path is you taking fucking responsibility for your life. I could keep going, but you guys get the idea, right? You get the idea. I decided to take radical responsibility for it all. And in doing so, I gained the thing that I wanted so much, which was fucking freedom. Freedom from myself, which is a number one thing that women tell me they want. They want inner peace. They want peace from themselves. But in order to do that, you've got to be willing to pull a seat up to the fucking mirror, face yourself, and take radical responsibility, because you are the common denominating factor in your life. If you don't like the results, take fucking responsibility for it. If you don't like your money situation, take responsibility for it. If you don't like any facet of your life that is not working in the way that you want it to work, take radical responsibility for it and set yourself free. Because as I mentioned, my life dramatically improved. My life 10x'd in all areas, including my relationship with money, when I took radical responsibility for my life. And I stopped embodying the version of me who was like, my life just happens to me. I have no control. No, yes, I did. And I was actually the one fucking co-creating more than half, if not all of the problems. So it all started for me 10 years ago when I read this book. And to be honest with you, I completely forgot about this book. I didn't even have a copy of it. I think I got it on audiobook 10 years ago. I'm not even sure if I finished the book 10 years ago, but I remember I started it. It wasn't like I read it then and it had some huge impact on me. To be honest with you, it was the very first step in a huge journey I've now been on in 10 years. However, a month ago, I was listening to somebody teach and they spoke about this book. And I remembered reading it. I remembered being at the event. I remembered it being the first money mindset book I ever read. And everything within me was like, it's time to reread this, Krystal. And so that's what I've done over the last kind of week and a bit. I reread Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And this time I adamantly know I finished it because I read it, I highlighted. It's just been such a beautiful experience to read this book again. And, what I took away from it 10 years ago and what I'm taking away from it today, the learnings are at the level in which I'm ready to learn them, right? New level, new devil. And so I feel like this book is a great book that I'll read again. And whatever level I'm at that point, it'll help me to have a breakthrough. So now that we're here at the end of this episode, which has been a much longer episode than I intended to be, but there's so much goodness in here, I have 2 action steps for you that I want to invite you to take. All right. Especially if you're listening going, I need a whole money mindset overhaul. Let me make this super fucking easy for you. Let me take this off your plate. This decision gets to be so easy. Step 1, start here. Read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Step 2, invest in your inner money game and enroll into my course, Heal Your Money. It is everything I have done to go from who I was to who I am now, having built 2 multi-6-figure businesses over the last decade. Everything that I've learned about money mindset, the work that I've done, the workshopping that I've done is in my course, Heal Your Money. If you are like, oh my God, I need to transform my money mindset, Heal Your Money, my course, is the only money mindset course you will ever need to do. It takes you through an entire process from where you are to where you want to be to really get to the root cause of your money shit and heal it so you can step into a wealthy woman identity and create the fucking success that you want to create. All the links for everything we've spoken about will be in the show notes below. I hope you loved today's episode. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you've been listening and your mind's been blown and ahas and learnings and breakthroughs, slide into my DMs and let me know. I love hearing from you guys and hearing the impact these episodes are having on you. You guys are the best. Much love. I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. If you loved this episode, be sure to share that with me by leaving me a review and head over to the She Who Dares official Instagram account at She Who Dares Official, hit follow, slide into my DMs and share with me the impact this episode has had on you. And before you go, I'm going to leave you with this. The universe is responding to you. It is following your lead. You are the one who has to move first. And when you do, the whole universe will move with you because it's I lead, the universe follows. When I move, the universe moves with me. That is our official She Who Dares mantra. I want you to write it down, put it on a mirror, and I want you to remind yourself of it every day. When I lead, the universe follows. When I move, the universe moves with me. When you follow this She Who Dares mantra, you are going to unlock the magic of the universe and you are stepping into your most powerful self. I can't wait to see you for the next episode. Thanks for being here.